We all know about people liking the most popular thing or person to stay fashionable, or at the very least to avoid being ridiculed. How many people just buy Apple products because it says Apple, without doing any research as to what product is really suitable for them? Even people that follow trends to stay socially acceptable know exactly what they're doing. Deep down, they know they're compromising. It shouldn't be surprising that such a habit is hard to break, as most people are so mired with weakness that being an individual is a real uphill battle. People only stop buying a particular product or liking a certain celebrity if a controversy damages their reputation beyond repair. If reports about Nike using sweatshops that treated their workers like slaves permeated society, then gradually people would see those that wear Nike as being backwards rather than being fashionable. Most people know that several high-profile companies have terrible business practices, but they can easily ignore this because the news about their behavior isn't exactly swarming across the mainstream media. Therefore, everyone can collectively ignore this and continue worrying about being fashionable. Despite this being common knowledge, not many people talk about these issues because it's inconvenient, and of course, their emotional satisfaction is far more important. Now, all of this might seem rather obvious, but this isn't exactly the only problem people have. People can in fact go in the complete opposite direction, although admittedly, not as many. There are some people that will publicly say that they like something that most people hate, such as an extremely unpopular movie. But these people are just being contrarians deliberately. There's always someone that says they love something that almost everyone else hates. This behavior is just attention-seeking and rather childish. But this is not what I want to address. Rather, it's when people are emotionally repelled by something just because it's popular. These people actually make a conscious choice to dislike almost anything that is mainstream, not because of a lack of merit, but because they have developed a negative association with the mainstream, most likely due to a few bad experiences or how they were brought up, which has made them feel distant from mainstream society. If everyone is buying Apple, then they'll buy something else, regardless of its cost-performance ratio. If Marvel is the most popular film series in the country, then they'll be the ones that don't like it, regardless of how they feel deep inside. Or in some cases, they won't even allow themselves to really know what they think of those movies. It's popular, therefore I can't like it. It's mainstream, therefore it has to be bad. They'll prefer less popular or obscure art, movies and music that most people don't understand or don't like. If it's weird and not mainstream, then there's a greater potential for them to like it. It will remind them of themselves, in other words, something or someone that is not the norm. They'll also get more cred, so to speak, within their group. The stranger and more obscure their taste is, then the more respect they'll get from those in their group. And don't forget, you also have to criticize whatever is currently popular in society, regardless of quality. Of course, this doesn't mean that they'll like everything that's strange and obscure. It should somehow speak to them on at least one level. They'll still need to feel at least a little unique within their group. Although far less people dislike things just because they're popular or mainstream, it still points to the fact that they're letting their emotional issues dictate what they can and cannot like. On one side, we have people that don't feel as though they fit into normal society. If the mainstream won't accept them, then they won't accept the mainstream, no matter what. This is just a childish, emotional reaction. On the other side, we have too many people letting their insecurities tell them what they should like, lest they don't fit in and get ridiculed. If you're worried about being criticized about such superficial things, then you're not a strong individual. In fact, you're barely acting like an individual at all. People need to be brave and support who and what they truly like, do what they really want to do, and not be swayed by what everyone else is doing. Yes, people are often like sheep and simply follow whatever the majority do without thinking, but this doesn't mean that if the majority are doing something or like something, that it must be bad or stupid. You can't just put something into one basket because everyone is supporting something. Just because something is popular doesn't mean that it's good, and just because most people are following something, it doesn't mean that they're sheep. Only a balanced individual can judge everything separately, regardless of what the crowd is doing. If the topic of personal insecurity and its influence on the regression of the West is of interest to you, then there's a link below this video to my book addressing this issue. See you next time.